Hello, one. Hello, all. Hello, perhaps all one of you. You are listening to Transmissions from Hell. I am Brian,
And I am Megan.
and this is meant to be a podcast explaining everything and anything that we feel worthy. Today, we're going to talk about what?
Haunted houses.
There's no real theme or goal to this. We intend on making this a thing, whether it's about, in this case, a haunted house, or what beverages we like, or a cool movie or album that we've seen or listened to. So there's no real structure to this. We understand that perhaps maybe no one will ever hear this but ourselves, and that's fine if that's how it turns out. And if people find this along the way, that's cool too. We're just here to either entertain ourselves and or others. So if you hear something you like, cool, check it out later. If you don't like it, just let us know, and we'll move on from there. So today is Sunday, October 3rd, 2021. What did we do this past weekend?
Pretty much, we just went to a bunch of haunted houses.
A bunch of haunted houses.
Yep.
And by a bunch of haunted houses, we went to four. We went to four. Two in the same night, and then three the following night.
We did a lot of driving.
We did a lot of driving, yeah. This is based in the southwestern section of Virginia on the east coast of the United States of America, because that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So I guess we can go in order of the days, right? So Friday, the 1st of October, there is a place around here. It was formerly called the Meeks Manor, and that place was fantastic. I don't know when that opened. Like, we're in no way endorsed by literally anyone whatsoever. So you know, these are strictly opinions. This is just what we feel. If anyone happens to hear this and they work there, or they've been there, or they know someone who's been there or works there, just know that this is just what we feel, as well as any of the places that we're going to end up talking about here. All of these places are roughly within the southwestern Virginia area that we're talking about. We did do some traveling, but it wasn't extreme traveling like we went to the other end of the country, or we went all the way up top to like Maine, or all the way to Florida or anything. But no, just know that this is just our opinions, and that's basically that. So this place used to be called the Meeks Manor. I don't know when that started. I'm gonna say probably sometime around mid 2010s, for all I know. And you're gonna end up fact checking me, I'm sure. You're gonna be like, actually, it was this. But Meeks Manor had what I believe was a pretty good run. I know that they eventually rebranded to the Terror Manor, which is where we went Friday. And this was not our first time going to the Terror Manor, but as we're told, much like a lot of haunts, these change up every year, whether it be like subtle changes or complete overhauls. These do change every year. So Friday, the 1st of October, we went to Terror Manor, and we went to Hexed Haunted Attractions. Terror Manor being located in Roanoke, Virginia, and Hexed Haunted Attractions being located in Elliston, Virginia, off of the Roanoke exit in the southwestern area of Virginia. Hexed, also some backstory for them. They used to be called the Gallows. I don't know if it's a rebranding of it. To my understanding, it was sold. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I believe that is what we were advised.
It was sold to a new group of people, whether it be friends or family or just strangers. I really don't know. It's hard to say, because in the haunt game or industry or business, whatever you want to call it, you don't typically just sell it to a stranger. So I don't know what happened there, but I'm guessing it's someone that they knew. That's just what I'm understanding. So the Gallows is no longer the Gallows. It is now Hexed Haunted Attractions. So we're going to start with that. We can do star ratings if you want, because people love that, right? We can do star ratings, and we're not going to be typical. It's not going to be out of 5. It's not going to be out of 10. It's going to be out of 6. How do you like that? It's going to be out of 6.
Yeah, okay.
Let's make it weird and intricate, right? So instead of saying
6.
2.5 out of 5, which is like average, you'd be like, that's 3 out of 6. It sounds better than it is, but really it's the same. So what did we start with?
So Friday we started with Terror Manor.
And we just went there, right? Well, of course we did stuff prior to that, but we went there. What time did we get there? It was roughly like 8:30 p.m.
I'd say 8:30 is a good time. Yep.
It wasn't even really busy, which was crazy because it was a Friday night. It's the first weekend of October. Terra Manor opened up the weekend prior. I don't know if it was a Thursday or Friday that they opened up. I think they only do weekends. I don't believe that they're open Sunday. But we did go there at around 8 p.m. And honestly, I was expecting the lines to be crazy because it's 8. They stay open until 11. So I believe from 7 to 11. Or 8 to 11. I'm not sure. You're going to fact check me on that too, right?
Sure.
They do close at 11. I believe they're open all weekends up until Halloween.
7:30 to, let's see. So, okay. So on Thursdays it is open from 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m.
So it is open Thursdays.
Yes,
Okay.
in October. In September, I think maybe the last week of September. I'm not sure.
And they don't open Sundays, except for probably this year they will do Halloween, which is a Sunday.
Yes.
Okay. And
yes,
is that
yes.
that same time till 11?
It is actually 7:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. on
Okay.
Sunday.
So just let that be known that they're interested in looking out for your school and work schedule. So if you go out on Halloween, you're gonna be there until 10 o'clock, possibly.
Fridays and Saturdays it's open from 7:30 to 11.
Okay.
Yep.
That sounds cool. So Terror Manor is and was, as the Meeks Manor, fantastic. I know we're supposed to talk about it, but I'm just gonna go straight into it. They were fantastic. When it was the Meeks Manor, you and I went there back in 2018 when it was still called the Meeks Manor,
Yep.
and we got I think we did a regular show at one point, which was but like $15 or $16 for a ticket,
I think it was 1666 with the tax.
which is really cool.
Yep.
That hits home, and that makes me happy. So it was 1666, I believe. I'm not gonna like dive into the whole history of Meeks Manor because for one, I'm not gonna pretend like I know it all. But there's just some backstory to it. We did do that, and it was significantly smaller than what it is now. Like it's always been in the same building, to my understanding.
It was not. It moved into the new location in 2018.
Did it really?
Yes. Unsure when it actually started, but in 2018, the year we went was the first year it was in that building.
Okay, so you're right though, because we did talk to someone at one point in 2018, and they said this is our first year in this building. That's true. You're right. I remember that. You're right. Look at that. So it wasn't always in that location, but when we went, that was its first time being there. But as far as what it is now,
Oh, it's incredible.
it was as far as what it was now, like not the location space is smaller, but the haunt itself, like once you get in, there were way less rooms. With that said, it was still really, really good. For $16.66, I've paid far more than that for way less of an experience.
We did that this year. What are you saying? So I mean, we've paid. Well, maybe not. Well, no, it was still more than 1666.
That's true, and we'll get into that. We will get into that. Like
I know.
No doubt. Oh, don't worry. No one's safe here, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. So, when it was the Meeks Manor, we spent 1666. Got a great show. Really cool people. Again, I think they rebranded. Certain people might have left. Certain people might have came on. It's basically like kind of like an overhaul for them. They added more stuff. They've added more props. Probably had returning actors. Probably had new actors. To my understanding, this is all volunteer work, which is awesome. I'm going to throw this in there real quick. I used to work. It's so fitting that we're doing this for like the first episode. For one, it's October and it's spooky time, right? I personally have worked haunted attractions for over a decade of my life and have like dedicated a big portion of my time during that to learning the ins and outs of the business and what works and what doesn't work, and that just my personal input on it. How to go about scaring people, gauging crowds, learning how to read people, and like not only does that work in haunts as it should, But what you learn in haunts, believe it or not, carries with you in real life. Like how to read people and understand how they react to certain things. You could do that in regular conversation, which is crazy. So when I put input here, this isn't definitive end all be all like, oh, well, Brian worked haunts for 10 years. So this is obviously what he says is gospel. This is just what I think. And of course, yeah, this is just what you think as well. So, but I do have insight on some of these things. Like I am so at the point when I stopped working haunts in 2012, I said I wasn't ever going to do it again. And I just wanted to live it as a customer because I was kind of past the point to where like I've done my time, not in a bad way. Like I've given myself, I'm not getting any younger. It hurts to run around. It hurts to get on your knees and crawl around and scream at the top of your lungs every night. You're tired, you smell like trash. and it's just like you get to that point to where you're like, all right, it's time to like pass the torch over to new people so I can enjoy this again. So before we move any further, I think it's a good point in saying, regardless of what either our opinions are, I think it's safe to say that regardless of whether our opinions are bad or good, where am I going with this?
They're just opinions.
They're just opinions. I think we've established that. But I really appreciate everyone. Like I really do. Like so that's kind of like a heads up too. Some things are going to be really good and some things are not going to be so good as far as like opinion based, right? I still appreciate what everyone does. Even if we didn't really enjoy the show, even if certain people might have came across as not entertaining, because I know what it's like to be out there and bust your ass for 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever. Like even before then, like because there's a lot of preparation and setup to that stuff. Even though those doors open at 7:30, 8 o'clock, there's sometimes people there that are there like 4 or 5 p.m. getting stuff ready, making sure people have bottles of water, making sure that everything's clean and ready to go. And so, I mean, like, even if we didn't really enjoy certain things, I appreciate everyone at least trying, because I know that's tough. That's tough. And especially when there's a sickness out there and you have people that are just trying to put a show on, and it can be difficult. So anyway, enough of the rambling, right? Terror Manor. How was it?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yes.
No, okay, so Terror Manor, I honestly thought that was this was the best year by far since I've been going. Obviously, compared to this, the only other haunted houses that I've ever really been to were just like little small town put together things, like, in a corn maze or at a church or even at Walmart, which has been some odd years ago, many years ago. So compared to all of those things, Terror Manor has definitely taken the cake with that one. And I don't know, I was thoroughly entertained.
It's a huge difference on the ends of the spectrum.
Yes.
Going from a haunt that offers extreme accessibility to spooky time in Walmart. Like, it's completely two different sides of the spectrum.
And I don't even think that's something that, the only time that I know we're talking about, like, I guess I was in high school, so I had to at least be 15, so we're talking about 2005. That was the only year that I think Walmart has ever participated in something like that. So many years ago, and I don't think they would ever do it again.
Nice. Showing your age in the very first episode. Good job. That's very telling.
They basically turned their lawn and garden center into a haunted house with a bunch of plastic, and the guy with the chainsaw, whatever. I don't know.
I do like how we're like moving right on to Terror Manor. Here's 5 minutes about Walmart's haunted house.
Well, I have to explain.
Well, no, it makes sense. It makes sense. And I can't even imagine, side note, before we really do get into Terror Manor, because there's 4 of these that we have to talk about. So this is going to be a long one. So if anyone's hearing this, I apologize, because we are like 15 rough minutes in, and you haven't heard anything about the places that you want to see or work at or are thinking about going to. Man, I apologize. Or maybe you own these places and you're like, man, just get to the point. Can you tell me if I suck or not or what?
No.
But or no, not just Terror Manor, because there's other ones.
Yes.
So, can you imagine what a Walmart haunted house would be like? Like where they wouldn't give everyday low prices. That's the scariest thing. Where they're just like, we're not offering you a rollback today. So, you think it was good?
Yes.
I think it was good. I think
great.
actually it wasn't good. It was fantastic.
It was great. It was fantastic is the best word that I've got.
Fantastic, I feel like, is an understatement. And I feel like we're starting off maybe strong here with Terror Manor, because that really set the tone for not only the weekend, but the entire month. This is October 1st. I know some places open up in September, like at least in Virginia, like Hollow Scream, I think, does September.
Terror Manor even opened up in September. Yep.
Exactly, yeah. Terror Manor does September dates. I don't know about any other place, but I know like Hollow Scream in Williamsburg, they do September dates. So that's cool and stuff. If anyone wants to check that out, I can't get in the right mindset to want to go to haunts in September. I want to do that in October, and I know that sounds stupid, but there's something about going to a haunt in September that's just like, I love this, but we're just not quite there yet. So anyway, all right. So the first place that we went to was Terror Manor. Tickets are $20 now. So by comparison to just a couple of years ago, they've increased the price, but like we mentioned earlier, they're ever growing and ever expanding. They're, I believe, advertising 40 plus rooms in this. We spent, after convenience fees for using cards, so keep that in mind. I believe they're going to charge you $21.06 if you use a debit or credit card. Like a little fee that is added to the convenience of using a credit card instead of using cash, because who carries cash anyway? Probably a lot of people. Like, if anyone sees, hears, and comments this, they're going to be like, dude, I still carry cash. I have a money clip in my wallet. So let's be just sidetracking. Get to Terror Manor. Just talk about it.
Just fucking say it.
Just say it. So we spent $21.06 on each ticket. They did hand us something. We were already aware of this. These other three places we're going to talk, or other two places rather. They offer something called the Terror Trifecta. It consists of three places who are not correlated with each other as far as management, to my knowledge anyway. If I'm wrong, please someone correct me on this. But I don't know. They're pretty far apart from each other, so I don't know if anybody who works at one location might try their hand at another location. If you work at any of these places and you travel and you're hearing this, let us know. Do you work at Terror Manor and then go to Helheim and then go to St. Albans, or do you just do one? Is that so? That's the Terror Trifecta. So it's Terror Manor in Roanoke, Virginia. It's St. Albans Sanatorium,
yes,
which is in Radford, Virginia as well, and then Helheim Haunted Attraction, which is in Wytheville, Virginia. And as far as where we're located, Helheim is the furthest away. So starting with Terror Manor, you buy your ticket. They hand you this little Terror Trifecta card that says, if you get all three of these punched, we're going to give you a free t-shirt that has some cool printing on there. It says Terror Trifecta on the front. It's got the three names, and then it has like three logos on the back in green. Pretty cool shirt. Doesn't glow like their other merchandise, at least Terror Manor. Terror Manor has some really cool shirts that glow in the dark with their new, because I know they used to be like black and red was their brand, and now it's black and green for whatever reason. Again, if anyone's listening to this and knows the reason for that, let us know. Why is it black and green now? Is that like a personal choice? Did something happen where you just like, we're tired of red? Whatever. So you buy your tickets. There's a tremendous queue that you can wait in. Luckily, there weren't too many people in. That could go either way. Do you like to wait in line for stuff like this, or do you just like to just get to the front and just like, let's go?
Who, me?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I didn't know if you were like asking the people who are listening.
The people who are listening. Well, yeah. I'm asking everyone. Okay. But what about you?
Me personally, I like waiting in the line.
Mm-hmm.
I like the interactions. I like when the actors come out and play. with other people to scare people, and that's always fun.
For the sake of suspension of disbelief, they're not actors tonight, are they? The monsters.
Monsters.
Or
yes.
whatever you want to call them. I don't care. If you want to call them actors, that's fine. In a real world, they're actors, yes. But
in a real world, yes.
We go to these to escape the real world. So I'm going to pretend like it's not a person putting on a mask. But let's be real. That's what we used to do. When I was doing that, you'd put on a mask and you would escape reality. So I'm either way with it. I don't mind if there's people there, but there's sometimes certain people that you're around, you hear their conversations and they're hyping themselves up to go through. They're trying to talk themselves out of going because I'm too scared or whatever. Like, there's so many different conversations that are going on. Sometimes you hear conversations where people are kind of being like disrespectful. They're like,
yes.
Yeah.
We'll get to that.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But, like, I'm going to punch this person in the face if they do that. And that's not cool. And if anyone hears this and they're like wanting to go hit someone in the face, don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. That's stupid. These people are here to put on a show, whether you love it or not. They're there to entertain you. I'm not saying you have to love it, but that's something that I don't like about a queue. I do like kind of waiting in line and like absorbing energy from other people where they're like hype and ready to get into the event, and they're like, you can kind of sense that they're scared and they're just saying things to their friends or family or whoever it is that they're with to try to be like, oh yeah, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I hope this isn't there. I hope this is in there. Everybody's afraid of clowns. No matter where you go, at least in our instances, everyone's like, I hope there's no clowns, which it's...
there's always clowns. No matter what, there's always clowns. There's
always clowns. And I'm sorry if any of the stuff that we say about any of these locations appears to be like a spoiler for what's inside. I'm going to be honest and real. If you don't know what takes place in a haunted house at this point in time, I don't know what to tell you. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's going to be pop scares. There's going to be strobe lights. There's going to be loud noises and people screaming. And there's always going to be a clown. There's always going to be a chainsaw. I'm not trying to ruin it for everyone and ruin the illusion here, but that's what a haunted house is. So anyway, we go through the queue line. There's no one really there. I know we were the only ones that were there at that point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they were talking
outside anyway.
Outside, yeah, exactly. So because they gave us our tickets and they said, take the walk of shame, basically, which was like 8 rows of queue line. And they specifically said, do not go over or under any of the ropes. We have security people here watching. Don't break the rules. And I'm all about following rules, especially when I walk into your house. If I'm a guest at your house, I'm doing what you tell me to, because I don't know who you are and I don't know what you're capable of. So we follow the walk of shame, and someone eventually was just like, hey, you're the only ones that are here in this queue. Normally we like letting you guys take the walk of shame, but tonight, if you wanted to skip the last little line, then you can. So we did. And then there was, this is new to me. I think this is new to you too. There's like a little maze that takes place before you even get into the building.
Yes, that was new. We didn't go last year, did we?
We did not go last year because of the virus. Kind of surprised. Well, not really surprised, but like a little reluctant to go this year because it's still not over, and the idea of dying to get to a place that you love going to and being around that kind of atmosphere, but there's still people that are, sick and it's not quite over yet. You're kind of hesitant to put yourself in an environment where you're like shoulder to shoulder with people in a small space where people are right up in your face. So, but we're at the point in our lives where we made that decision to go ahead and just go through with it. So we didn't go last year, but here we are. So this is new. If this was here last year, I wasn't aware of it because we weren't there. But as far as we're concerned, this is new, and it was pretty cool. There wasn't a lot going on with it, but it wasn't bad. It was a cool starter.
Yes.
It was a really cool starter.
I would say that it definitely, especially for people who are easily spooked, it definitely is. It was a good starting point because it's essentially just a dark maze that you can't see anything in, and then You just have to make it to the end.
It's a true maze too. Like that's a really good word to use
Yep.
because a lot of people throw the word maze out there, just kind of willy-nilly when there's only one path to go through. So a maze isn't one path that's dark that you just hopefully find your way through. Because when I was doing haunts, everyone said that the place that I worked at was a maze, and it wasn't. It was just one direction that you go through, and they're like, I'm stuck up against a wall. Well, I don't know how because it's not a maze. You just have to find your way through it.
Yep.
So this actually was a maze because there were things that made it clear to where this might be the direction that you have to go, and you walk through this curtain, and there's just signage there that doesn't call you an idiot, but just makes you feel like, haha, you went the wrong way. Now you got to find your way back and go the right way. So yeah, so it was a proper maze, which was really cool. And then you get out, and then you have to cross the street to go into the actual place.
Yep.
Which before we go further with that, when we were going through the queue line, there is a security check, which is good to know. I love that. I love that idea because kind of what I said earlier, you don't know who these people are. If I may ruin the illusion for a second, these are actors, right? And sometimes the actors are more afraid of the customers coming in because, yeah, we're supposed to be scary, you're supposed to be terrifying, and we're supposed to like give you a terrible time in a good way. But you also don't know who these people who are walking into your house, who they are, what they have on them, what they can do. So if you take away the mystique of haunts and think about the reality of safety, it's ironic that you go into a building where it's all blood, guts, and gore and murder, and it's all blood, guts, and gore and murder, and the biggest priority is safety, which is it's a big deal. So I'm really, really happy that they do have like a security precaution. Like if you have any weapons, you better leave them in your car. Like if you carry a butterfly knife or something, you better leave it in your car because we don't want that stuff here. Like we're not here to promote any stuff like that. I really like that. At least. So the fun part about that was the guy said take everything out of your pockets, and I was like, if you find anything that triggers when you get right here, it's because of my metal butt plug that's in there. And he had a good laugh at that. That's something that we like to do is play with people. Like, not in a disrespectful way, but like, I'm not going to speak for you, but I don't get scared of this stuff anymore. Working it all for a good majority of my, well, not a good majority of my life, but a nice portion of time in my life, understanding that it is a show. This doesn't really scare me anymore, but that doesn't mean I can't enjoy it and appreciate it and take it for what it is. So I don't want to walk through these things and just make people that are doing their job feel like you're wasting your time, because I'm not going to scream and shout, and I'm not going to pretend to, because that can also come off as disrespectful. If you're just like, oh, you got me, they might look at that like, well, what a jerk.
You bitch.
Yeah, you're not really scared. Why are you acting like that? But like, I like to play back. Like if they say really clever things, I like to try to make quick comebacks with them. I feel like sometimes I'm really good at it, other times not so much. But I do try to play off of the crowd, and I know sometimes you do too.
Yep.
Because it makes it fun. Like that's one of the biggest things about haunts is that they like to feed off of one another. If you have two people that just go 3 or 4, whatever size your group is, I think the best size group is 4 to 5. Anything less or more than that, like it still could be fine, but I feel like it's overkill or underkill. But if you just see 4 people walking through that are just dead silent crickets and not doing anything, like you don't have any energy to feed off of, and you don't really have much to go on, and it's just kind of like, boo! Oh, okay, well they don't care. So anyway, yeah, we told the guy that we had a butt plug, or I had a butt plug. I don't know if you have a butt plug. If you do, it wasn't there because the sensor didn't go off. So anyway, and still, here we are, a half hour in. Just talk about Terror Manor.
I could all day.
All day. I really could. So we get in to the building. It looks different because the ticket booth is outside, where it used to
be inside.
Used to be inside. Still the same staircase. You go up, you take your ticket.
Wristbands.
Wristbands. Yeah, they do give you wristbands. And then the queue, there is another queue that's inside. So once you make it to the top floor, which is only 2 floors,
So also, before you continue,
Okay.
just in case anyone is also wondering, this year at Terror Manor or St. Albans or even Helheim, they are also giving punch cards to complete the Terror Trifecta to get that shirt. Just in case we did not say that
We did.
already.
We did.
Okay.
And if you got something, this is us. You got something to say, you just cut me off. That's all you got to do.
I know this.
That's how conversation works, don't you know?
Did I not just do that?
Yeah, no, that's all you got to do. So no, yeah, they do give punch cards. I do believe we touched on that. If you take it to all 3 events, they punch them and then they give you a shirt.
Yep.
It has the logos on the back and it says Terror Trifecta on it. That's St. Albans, Helheim, and Terror Manor. Withville is Helheim. Radford is St. Albans, and then Terror Manor is in Roanoke. I do believe we did say that. But in addition to that, I'm glad you did bring that up, because what I didn't say earlier was you do get... This is okay, so the order in which we did Terror Manor on Friday. We did go back to Terror Manor the next day. We'll get into that. But we then went to Helheim first on Saturday, and then St. Albans immediately after that. So that's the order in which we did the trifecta. I don't know if a certain order determines what discount you get. Like, I'm sure all 3 of them give a discount, but we paid full price for Terror Manor because that was our first stop. And then we got a $2 discount from one location, and then we also got a $2 discount from the other location of the 3 for presenting that card. So I'm sure if you live next to one of the ones that's further away from Terror Manor and you decide to, like, say, go to Helheim first, I'm sure Terror Manor will give you a $2 discount, because that's how that works.
Yeah.
But I can't guarantee that. It's just the order in which we did it. So anyway, when we get up front, there is a queue line inside the building. It's upstairs. It's a 2-story, or it's a 2-floor haunt. All of the actual action goes on upstairs, if you don't count the little maze that they do outside downstairs. So that queue line can be fun too, because there's a lot more stuff going on. They have the monsters messing with people in the queue from time to time, which is fun. And I have to give it to these people. I know all of these people are volunteers, but they have really good actors.
Yes.
I'm not talking like Hollywood, like A-list celebrity actors or anything. That's not, I mean, it's just a haunted house. No one really has that unless you went to like Universal or something. But like for volunteer work, even paid work, I worked places where they do pay you and they pay you well. And these people that aren't getting paid anything, they're just doing this out of the goodness of their heart and support of the cause. They're better than people that got paid top dollar to do this in places that I've worked. They were fantastic. So congratulations to you guys. You guys are fucking awesome. Seriously. So we got to the queue. Where does it go from there?
So we were joined with a mom and her 2 kids before we were allowed to enter the haunt.
Pretty young kids, I'd say, probably like early teens.
Probably not even teens.
Teens.
I'd say less than 12 or less.
Okay.
Ish. Maybe 10, 12. 10 and 12, I mean. So also when you are upstairs in the queue line, you also will see their snake. I forget what type of snake they said it was.
It's a big snake.
It's big.
It's a tremendous snake. It's easily missable too, because there's so much to look at upstairs.
Yeah.
They have like a little window of like paranormal trinkets that they have found over the years, and it's a bunch of cool stuff. There's posters and pictures all over the place. There's monitors that have like really, really well produced like mock music videos of the people that work there, and I'm willing to bet one of them is the owner based off of what I've seen one of the owners wear.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
I believe it's Rob.
Yeah, so they have a lot of stuff to look at. They got the rules up there. They got pictures, and also, so the snake is really missable because you could easily get distracted by how much stuff there is to look at there. But there is a snake there. You can see it. Just look for stuff there, and you'll find it. So I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. There's a family of 3, 2 kids and a mom.
Yep. So we get paired up with them, and then we are able to enter the haunt. This part.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Well, no. We're a group of 2.
Yes.
We do this by ourselves, and they were just a group of 3.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm not just saying this for convenience purposes when I said a group of 5 is like the perfect number. That's the max perfect number, because we were in a group of 5, and whatever I say goes. It's not that I truly think anything more than 5 can work, but usually kind of gets cluttered.
Yeah. People miss things.
Exactly.
Missed opportunities, for real.
People miss things. People, like, some people aren't focused on. Good actors will be able to provide a show to everyone, where sometimes you'll find that, and whatever works. I'm not trying to knock anyone here, but whatever works. And this isn't anything towards Terror Manor, because I really didn't see anything like this, what I'm about to say. I'm just saying in general that sometimes people will focus on one person in the group because they're the most scared. Like
the weakest link.
Right? Like the quote fingers for podcast listeners, right? So that's fine. If it works, it works. I personally don't really like pop scares too much because I feel like it's cheap. I'm not saying that they're stupid and no one should use them, because that works. If the point is to scare people, startle people, whatever. And if you got to do something that works, then by all means do it. Do I want you to do pop scares from literally scene 1 to
start to finish?
Not really. But I mean, if it works, it works. And I like diversity in a scary place, in a haunt. This had it. This was very diverse. There's tried and true tactics. I'm not going to dive into every like behind the scenes trick I believe that I've seen them use, but they use some pretty old time methods that have always worked and are always fantastic. They've done stuff in there that I've never seen before. It's just overall really good. So I don't believe we're going to get into literally scene by scene by scene by scene, because there's still other places we have to talk about, but this was clearly the highlight of the weekend.
100%.
Terror Manor. So we do go in. We will talk about a couple scenes, like the ones that I remember, because we didn't take notes. There's no production value to this whatsoever. There's no editing. I'm sure in the future there will be like professional mics. I'm sure there will be not recording on a cell phone, and there's editing and stuff. I'm sure that's all going to come over time. But as an introductory point, this is fun. I just wanted to sit here with you and talk with you and have some beverages and just relive the past. And by the past, I mean 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
So, but there's certain things that do stand out that I do remember, and I'm sure like you'll have things that I might have forgot, or that meant more to you than it meant more to me, and vice versa. But we didn't take notes on this. It's just kind of like it's all how you send them home. So the first scene was like a judge, right?
A judge. Oh, it's my favorite, actually.
Was it really?
I really loved it.
Okay, so I kind of...
Both nights. Just as a FYI, both nights I really loved it.
Okay.
First night, the best.
So the first night, I missed a little bit of it because I was the end of the group. So it was the family at the front. Well, no, I take that back. They wanted us to lead. But when I walked in, I was kind of, okay, so it's kind of like not really a T-shaped hallway, but just like a straight line. Like you walk in to a door.
You have to walk to either side to let other people in.
Which, side note, there's 2 different paths that you could take.
Yes, which we did not know this the first night.
Did not know this the first night. Again,
which worked out better in our favor, I think, the first night, because that is one of the things that I liked about it. That
is pretty cool. The fact that they had multiple paths that you could take, that just shows you that you don't just go there once and here's $20 and let me get a show and I don't ever have to see this again. It truly is a matter of the show is different every single time. Now, if you go through it 100 times in a season, are you going to see repeat stuff? Absolutely.
Probably.
Absolutely. But, I mean, there is enough diversity there to where you're going to get a different show more often than not, whether it be a different actor, whether it be, different dialogue that they say to you because there's other people in your group and they say like it's always going to be different. There's nothing can be the same twice. So popping the cork. Podcast listeners, there's some ASMR for you. So the first scene was a judge, and to be quite honest, I really didn't hear too much of what he was saying because there was a lot going on. There was a lot going on. We were just entering the actual event. You had like
we were sentenced to hell. That was in a nutshell. That is exactly what happened.
We were sentenced to hell.
To hell.
Okay, yep. Well, apparently when you're sentenced to hell, you're told to get on your knees, which is what we like I mentioned earlier. I very much like to follow orders when I'm told what to do in strangers' houses. So I got on my knees, which I think I said something to the guy leading back to we like to play back with their dialogue. I was just like, man, am I so tired of doing this, right? Like, get on your knees. Why am I so tired of doing this? So we did that, and it kind of seemed like he was going to have us go to the left, but instead he pointed to the right, which was like a little crawl door.
Yep. And
like, sure as shit, you guys are crawling to the next area.
That was my favorite part, actually. Crawling.
The crawling?
God, did it suck on my old ass knees, but it was the most fun I think that I've had.
It is true. Like, I am not in my early 20s or late teens anymore. Like, I wish I could like just have a great time. I did have a great time, but I wish I could have a great time and like, oh, all right, and I crawl through the whole thing on my knees, but I'm like, man, my joints hurt. Like, my legs hurt, man. I can't do this all night. But, so we went through it. Really, really cool visuals. Every scene had so much going on. They, like we mentioned earlier, there's 40 plus rooms advertised. And that's not a lie. There are 40 rooms for real. Did we sit and count every single one of them? We didn't because we got lost in the fun that was. But man, that was they're for real. It was just like you go through haunts and you kind of have an idea of when the ending comes because it's pretty obvious. They leave you with a bang, and there were so many good scenes in there that left with that bang that you were like, okay, the next corner that we turn, that's probably it. We're probably done. And you realize that you still have half the house to go through.
Yeah.
Because there's so much cool stuff that you're like, well, surely that's it, right? Like that was their grand finale. That's kind of like a testament to how good the people were there. But a lot of cool visuals, a lot of cool scenes. I admittedly was upset that I didn't get to see everything because there's so many props. There's so many like nice touches that are in each place that you don't get to see everything because it's kind of like a constant pace. They're not like conga lining people through it. There is a pace that is followed from what I've seen, but they do want to keep people moving, which makes sense.
Gotta keep the flow.
Gotta keep the flow because a lot of the scenes, and that's just something I've noticed over the time of going through haunts, is a long time ago when maybe these things weren't as popular, you had the time to have like a 10-minute scene at a dead stop and watch something happen. And then you go to another, this isn't Terror Manor that I'm talking about, just like in general.
I know.
Yeah, so you go to another scene and you watch like another 8 minutes of dialogue and you guys want to see me do this to this person? Yeah, right? And like, then you move on to the next scene. It wasn't quite like that. It was just roaming. You go through, you see this happen, Very interactive still, but didn't get a chance to see every single piece of like artistic involvement with the scenes because you'd have to go through there a ton of times to see it all. If I could fast track for a second, we ended up speaking and meeting with one of the owners named Scott, who was a fucking super nice guy.
Yep.
And I know that's not like, no one really wants to, or maybe people do want to hear, like, are these people nice? Like, for
100%, they are absolutely nice. It's more like Honestly, when you talk to these people, it feels like family.
It really
Distant
does.
family, but family.
It really does. Like a really twisted family that you wish was actually your family in a weird way. But like when you go to a haunt, you kind of want, at least I do. I don't want to speak for everyone, but like I don't want it to be unwelcoming to where like we don't want you here, but there's a tone, there's an atmosphere that has to be set, and for me to be like, hey, these were really nice people. It sounds weird because, like, yeah, come on down. They're going to make you lunch. They're going to tuck you in at night. Like, it's not like that. But, man, this guy was awesome. This guy was super nice. And I told him one of the things that I would really love to see is, like, I guess, like a lights on tour, right? Where you get the opportunity to not get scared, to not have a show, but instead all the lights are on and you get to admire all of the work and effort that goes into this building because there's a lot of shit there. And if you don't take a moment to stop and like investigate everything, you're not going to see it all because there's a ton there. But anyway, really cool characters, really cool original characters that have names. Can't name them all, but that's even how it was with the Meeks Manor. They had really cool like original ideas. Of course, you can't do everything for the first time, so there was some stuff like Jason Voorhees was in a scene, which that's like a horror icon. That's like a legend, of course. So that doesn't bother me. But for the most part, like everything was different. You had stuff from like, well, did we see vampires? I don't think we did see vampires.
No, I really wish we had something from 2018 to compare this to, like how it was versus how it is now, because it's like totally different. Some of the same props and scenes or whatever, but totally different still.
Well, some of that stuff is, you're right. But some of that stuff is a lot of money. And you can't just be like...
Well, yeah, change it up every year.
Yeah.
I know that.
But some of that stuff you could tuck in a closet, bust out 5 years later and be like, you guys remember this? And then they look forward to that. That's kind of cool, too.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, like, I wish we had something to compare it to, so like you could see just how far it's come along, so, from like what it was to what it is now.
Oh, like a then and now. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, then it was great, and now it's even more great. So I mean, it's only it's good business from here on out, from what I've seen. Yeah, really really cool original costumes. I believe I've been told, read, heard, whatever the case, that a lot of stuff that they make. They do make their own costumes. They do make their own masks. This isn't really...
I'm going to go to the dollar store and pick up this plastic mask and create a haunted house and charge you $20.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Here, like, we got little Tootsie Pops that have napkins wrapped around them and ghost face drawn on them and hung from the ceilings. Welcome to kindergarten. It's not like that. They don't have bleeding Scream masks from 1997 sitting all over the place. This was some really cool, intricate, and really well creative design stuff. I think they even sell signed posters from some of the actors or monsters or whatever, like in character, right? Which is cool.
Yes.
Because that's how you build on something. If someone has something to remember, like I think one of the guys' name was Reckless.
Yes.
Like, so if you market that, like, here's a signed poster of Reckless. Is everyone going to buy that? Maybe, maybe not. But, like, people could see that poster or people could buy that and be like, oh, that's that dude from that place. That's really cool. That's really cool. Whereas some other places, they might even make their own stuff too, but there's no real rhyme or reason to it. And it's just like, hey, I saw that costume at a store one time. That's inevitable. You're going to run into that kind of stuff. But the fact that these guys put a lot of time, money, and effort into their show, that's unbelievably appreciated. There was a scene that stood out to me, and I know at the time, because we talked about this, of course, like we did already talk about some of this stuff on the drive home, when we walked into one scene and it was basically like a satanic church. You remember that? Okay. So it's like you have the pews in line, and it's like really dark and dismal in there, and they had like really low lit candles, and there was like a picture frame with a pentagram on it, and there was a guy in what I couldn't get a great look at it because it was really dark, but it looked like he had like some type of minister or reverend suit on.
Yeah, I couldn't tell. Like, yeah.
but he had a book, and he was spitting out verbiage and welcome to hell and hail Satan, in which we of course chanted hail Satan back, and I just ate it up and was having such a good time with that guy.
Both nights, two different people.
Two different people, yeah.
Two different people.
I don't think the first guy had a mask on.
He didn't.
He didn't.
I don't think.
Okay. So the first guy didn't have a mask on. Sounded really similar to the second guy. Might have been the same guy, but with a mask on, because the second night he did have a mask on. Whoever that might have been. But we got Hail Satan chants. We got Welcome to Hell. You guys are sinners. Of course we are. Look where we're at right now. But that was a really cool standout scene. And of course, there was the clowns.
Yep.
There were the clowns.
I liked having the games. Like ring toss. That was fun.
That was cool. Yeah, that's super cool interactive stuff that
I don't feel like anyone does. There's not very many people who do that kind of interaction. Like, this year, I feel like there was a lot of interacting going on.
It really was.
From start to finish. I mean, all over the place.
Very much from start to finish. And even during a time where people are afraid to be around other people. That's not a bad thing either. Like, they went to show you, like, we're still able to give you a good show while still being able to be safe about it. Like,
yeah.
that was really cool. So there was ring toss. There is a guy, I hope he hears this. I really hope he hears this. There was this, yeah, we're gonna do some love here. There is a guy that I encountered in the past going to haunts who had recognized my shirt. Actually, the first time I ever encountered this guy, and he might remember this better than I do if he hears this. The first time I ever seen this guy was, I went to the Meeks Manor for the very, very first time.
2018?
By myself.
Yep.
Went and paid for the extreme haunt. Before I finish this story, Terror Manor does offer an extreme haunt. What is an extreme haunt? I think there's 3 different levels. There's just the bare bones. I think it's called bronze level. It's $40. It's an extreme haunt. You pay for a ticket. You wait in line. You go through. They're gonna touch you. They're gonna victimize you. And like, they're not really gonna hurt you, but like, they're going to give you an experience that you do not get the opportunity to experience if you don't get that package. You're gonna be touched. You're gonna be touched. You're gonna be yelled at. You're gonna be sworn at. They bill this as an R-rated attraction, whether you get the regular show or not.
Yep.
So you are gonna hear some crazy stuff. You are gonna see some wild things, but there's a silver package, which is the same thing. I think that's $50. It's the same experience, but you get to cut the line, which is cool. And then I think there is a gold package, which is $60, where you get to cut the line, you get the hands-on, like, touch you kind of extreme experience, and they give you a shirt too. So that's cool. If you want to do that kind of thing, if you're into the abuse mentally, physically, verbally, that's what they do. So there is a dude who, the first time I saw him was at the Meeks Manor, and I was going to pay for the extreme haunt, which at the time they only offered one extreme haunt, and it was $50. You got a t-shirt, and you got a lanyard that you wore that was like, hey, touch me, do crazy shit to me, do whatever you want, right? And this guy saw my shirt, and he was like, oh man, that's the Gallows extreme haunt. I'm like, yeah, that's what that is. And he was just like, cool, right on. So I saw him again at the Gallows, which is another haunt in southwestern Virginia, and he remembered me from Meeks Manor, and he was like, yeah, you're the guy that I talked to. So the only time I ever seen this guy was just in passing. And he has a really good memory, because we usually only went like once or twice a year.
Yeah.
And these were completely different locations. So fast forward, we've only ever seen this guy a couple times. We saw this guy on Friday night. I don't know what his character name is, so forgive me for that. But his name is Ian. And he's like, man, you look familiar. You two look familiar. He recognized both of us. And he was like,
really? He recognized you?
But he still recognized you. And he was like, you used to have long hair, and you had the beard, and you had the OG Gallows shirt on. I'm like, dude, I cannot believe you remember that. And
that's details.
that is unreal. and he asked us to promote on social media.
Which, I felt really bad because, of course, I couldn't log into my Facebook account while I was there.
But the dude gave you a bracelet anyway.
Anyway, he did. And I did go back and leave the review for him. I did realize that I'd already left a review, so I had to delete the old one and resubmit the new one. But I also left what I said about the old one in there. Because no matter what, I still gave 5 stars out of the 5 that they were allowing me to give.
Yeah, that's true. So, thank you, Ian, for being such a cool dude. Thank you for the bracelet. Thank you for the experience. Thank you, everyone at Terror Manor. The clowns were awesome. There was a part in the clown section that was meant for the extreme admission only, which we did not get at that time. We just paid for regular tickets.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, there's going to be another episode. Can you believe it? We're about an hour in, and we have other places to talk about, and there's going to be a part 2 to this one. Yep. So this is fantastic. This was so good. I can't say that enough. In a nutshell, the people were great. The actors or monsters, the haunters, whatever you want to call them, they were amazing. Visually looked incredible. Experienced atmosphere of a lifetime. You can't go anywhere that just promotes entertainment. I don't care if it's a movie, a haunt, a theme park, or whatever. You cannot go anywhere and pay this price and get that kind of experience. Nope. This was incredible.
Indeed.
This was incredible.
Also, just to kind of backtrack a little bit about some of the folks that we've seen. Buttons. I really just liked that character.
I do think that's his name, Buttons.
It is Buttons. I looked it up just to make sure.
You looked it up?
Yeah.
We had some inappropriate verbiage with each other, which I loved. I love that. Both nights, actually. We had some inappropriate verbiage with each other. He's very quick-witted.
Yes.
Very, very on the game. When someone says something to him, he doesn't just buckle and be like, "Oh, okay, play with me," or something, right? Even if that's
the typical haunted house.
Or the laugh. That.
To be creepy.
Some people do that, and it works. Some people can get away with it. If it fits your character, that's cool. I think there's something I'll mention about that later, but yeah. So overall, like I could talk about. I feel bad for anyone listening to this because this is time-wise getting out of hand, but that's fine. That's what we're here for. This is 6 out of 6. I couldn't give it anything lower than that. This is 6 out of 6.
I agree.
This is seriously like start to finish, getting in, talking to really cool people, going through new things.
Being able to smack you in the ass with a little crop or whatever the hell you call that thing.
That was night 2.
No.
But we'll get there.
Well, I still think that was awesome.
That's true.
Might be night 2.
Might be night 2. So, start to finish, great, really, really great experience. A portion of the reason that I started with Terror Manor, because sometimes you want to save the best for last, I'll be quite honest, it's a spoiler. If indeed anyone that works there, anyone that's involved with that whole project gets to listen to this, I'm sorry if I just wasted an hour of your time, but you didn't have to wait for the whole show to get through to hear about your place. Terror Manor, thank you for what you do, seriously, sincerely, from the bottom of my crappy, like, grease-filled, fast food, tainted heart. I love you guys, and if you keep doing what you're doing, I will never stop going there. So, that was night 1. We also went one more place. We actually were not going to go to this place this night, but we had time because we got out of there at a reasonable hour, and we were like, okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. So, this place is called Hexed Haunted Attraction, formerly known as The Gallows. We touched on this earlier. To my understanding, was sold. It is not owned by the same people anymore. It's rebranded as Hexed, not The Gallows. So, to wrap this night up, let's go to Hexed. Let's go check it out. This place was the life of the party. At one point in time, they had like a freak show going on, like a side stage with this one guy Somebody told me his name was Decker. He was dressed up like a clown and was like super rude to people, but like in a good way. Like he would say really dirty jokes to kids, and it was funny. Like I appreciated it because there's not enough of entertainment like that. Like you're allowed to be offensive without hurting people. Like, yeah, they might be like, oh, that's not cool, but like it was all in good fun at the time. It wasn't anything that crossed a line. It would just it would just be like a dirty joke that the parent would be like, hey man, come on, that's my kid. Let me take a look at this. Show me something real quick.
Okay.
You want to just wrap night 1 up? You want to do this? You want to do this separately?
I think we should do it separately.
Okay, we'll do it. We'll do it separately. That's fine because this is like a fan fest of Terror Manor. But I'm still going to talk about this place because because this is the first night. It only makes sense. It's only fair. So because I'm not gonna. I did just talk for an hour about one place, and I'm not going to talk an hour about the next place. But that's okay. Hexed. We got there. It's like an open field. It's like somebody's property or whatever. Like it's not just like out in the open. Like the drive there is terrifying.
Dirt roads, curvy ass roads. If you're not really familiar with that,
this is some
not the place for you.
This is some wrong turn shit to get there.
The banjos are playing.
The banjos are playing. You got Bayou Billy whistling in the background. Man, is it scary to drive to this place. Because, like, there's no life in sight. And then you get there. And it's almost quite literally that. Like, granted, they were about to close, so I'll give them that. But we get there, and there's hardly any cars in the parking lot. $5 to park. Heads up, this is the only place out of the 4 that we went to that charged for parking. $5 to park. Cash only.
Yep.
No big deal. We actually had to stop off at a store to get cash back just to pay for gas. Or not gas, but for parking. So we pay for parking. We get there. Ticket prices are $20 general admission. They, at one point, they used to offer an extreme haunt for, I believe, $50. Because of the illness, they are not doing an extreme haunt for the 2021 season. Not a problem. We got up there. We paid for our tickets. They said $15 each. That was interesting because our tickets were supposed to be $20.
Yeah, what was posted said 20.
It did say 20. It's advertised on their website as 20. It's advertised on their posters as 20. They charged us 15 apiece. Why? Don't know. Thank you. That was really nice. That might have been like a, hey, we're about to close up kind of thing. I really don't know. But it was late. It was about time for them to kind of pack it in, take it home. But we go in, and man, is this going to sound sad after that last hour? Because I did love the Gallows. I was drinking their Kool-Aid. I was very much into the Gallows. Whenever the change was made, again, I appreciate the effort that people put into it, but this is a shell of its former self.
It was still the Gallows in 2018, right?
It was the Gallows. I think that might have been the Gallows with Hexed merchandising, because there was a shirt there that said "Death to False Horror," which I still have, but it had the Hexed X on it. So I don't know. That might have been like the transitioning period.
Yeah.
But so we get there. We pay for our tickets. The people at the ticket booth were the most interactive people there. That's sad. That's sad. And if anyone who works at this location hears this, they hear this and they're offended by this, I apologize. Thank you for being there. Thank you for giving us a show. Thank you for busting your ass for hours to put on makeup and masks and costumes and be there to do a job. But man, if I can give some criticism and some words of wisdom, you guys need to learn how to work a crowd, because you need to learn how to work a crowd, because the actors, to my understanding, they're also volunteers, which that's fine. But you go through and you try to play with them. And I know that sometimes you kind of have to have this tone of like, get out of my house, get out of my woods, right?
Well, yeah, if it fits your character.
If it fits your character, if it fits the atmosphere of what you're trying to present. Some of these people that worked here just felt like they were being rude assholes. Like, not rude assholes in character, but like, we're using a character to be a jerk to you for no reason. Maybe they were tired and wanted to go home. Maybe they just didn't want to deal with us because maybe they thought that we were just being jerks because we like to play back and be like, no, don't touch me, don't do that. And we'll say like quick-witted stuff to them. That was not the experience that I was hoping to get. You go through the cornfield to start off with, which was like very minimal at best. There was hardly anything that went on. It's cool to walk through a cornfield because I like that.
Well, I love getting corn stalks in my. That's my favorite.
That's true. You were complaining about that. I keep walking into corn.
It's because you would walk through and then the corn would like sling back and hit me in the face.
That's true. That's true. Well, that's what you get for wanting me to go first. So it doesn't matter.
Blame me.
Yeah, this is all your fault. So we go through and it's very much like pop scare, pop scare, pop scare, pop scare. No dialogue whatsoever. Now I'm all for people like being vulgar and swearing in haunted houses, but there was an instance of unnecessary swearing here where it was just like they heard us say something, so they were like, "Oh, I guess it's fair game." And they just overdid it.
And said, "Oh shit," like 8,000 times.
And it was just like, all right, the first time was funny. The second time that's fine too. But like they just kept saying it as we were walking away. I was like, all right, they're just doing it because we said it, and it's like you just beat the dead horse, right? So we get through the cornfield, which was fine.
Actually, before we continue, I didn't have as much of a problem with that as you did, because that was probably the only person who really wanted to play back.
I disagree there, and I'll tell you why in a second. But you're right, he did want to play back. Now, granted, it wasn't
the best.
It wasn't good playing back, but you're right, he did play back. So credit where it's due. There is one guy that works in this place.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay,
right.
yeah, you're like
right.
That's all it took. So we get through the corn maze, and then there's the like before you get to the main house, there's a sign that says gallows, which it's almost like a headstone at this point of like rest in peace. Here lies what used to be. Is what I got from that.
I would agree.
That's what I took from that.
It's entirely different than what it was in 2018, and not for the good.
The first time I went to gallows was in 2015. Oh my god. That was, like, it really was otherworldly. I had never in my life seen anything like that. And I would tell people about the gallows and what they do to people there in such a good way. I'm like, I've never felt like this at a haunt in my life. And it was so, like, invigorating. And I would tell people, they would tie, like, if you pay for the extreme ticket, they tied you to chairs, made you bob for dirty-ass pickles, put boxes that you cannot see out of over your head while you're defenseless. And, like, that's crazy. That's scary. That's the whole point. They used to do that stuff. And I'm like, man, I worship these people. They're so good at this art, this lifestyle of haunt. No one can top this. And now here we are, 6 years later, saying, oh shit, 50 times because they heard us say shit once. So, or twice or whatever. So we get to the main house. We go in. There's a guy who always has the first scene, to my understanding. Bigger dude, and man, he's good. He's really good. Like, he's very quick-witted, very clever, like very, very much loaded with sass. And,
oh yes.
Oh, and like he just knows what to say to people, no matter what they say to him. And he just makes you feel uncomfortable in the exact way that you want to feel uncomfortable in this place. And I don't know what his name is. I don't know what his character is. It's some dude in a wheelchair in the very first scene of Hexed.
The house, yeah.
The house. Man, that guy's awesome. Like, I wish Nothing but good things for that guy. Um, there's a lot of static in this house, and that, like, I don't know if any other people that work haunts anywhere else that listen to this call it that, but that was like an insider term for where we used to get taught. Static was just filler, just like no actors, no real scenes. It was just a couple of props to lead you up to another thing. This was nothing but static. You would see a couple of really, really young people working here that would either just snarl or growl or just breathe heavy, exactly,
or just do some ridiculous laughing then not do anything else, just laugh and look and stare.
A majority of the time that they did that, they would wait until you've already walked past them, almost as if they were like afraid to do that in front of you, which was like, come on, man, you like.
Be brave.
Come on, you're just like I don't know who you are. Make me feel like weird or something. Make me feel something. So there are a couple scenes. Visually, this place looked kind of cool too. I wouldn't say it looked as good as Terror Manor, but there were some cool props, cool scenes. There were a couple of really big budget props that were in there that you could tell that they forked out quite some money for. But for the most part, it was a lot of static. It was a lot of really young volunteer actors, which I appreciate their work, but I just wish it was a little bit better. These people did not really play back at all. For a majority of these people did not play back, which is fine. Maybe that's just not what they want to do. There was one particular scene where we walked in and a guy called me COVID.
You're COVID.
Because we decided to wear masks to these events. Why not? We're getting face to face with people. It's the right thing to do, we felt. So
that is true. He was also, at least he did want to play back a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah, okay. Yeah. So there's some critique I'll give here. And again, this is just my opinion. This is not definitive. It's not like what I say goes and you guys suck. That's not the message I'm getting across. There was some good moments had here. Was it good? Overall, I think there's some massive room for improvement. This seemed like it has turned into a casual haunt with some things that are said that exceeds casual expectations. Swearing in haunted houses isn't really a normal thing in most haunts. And like certain visuals aren't really normal. Like people getting mutilated in haunted houses.
Yep.
That's not really a normal thing in casual haunts. But this, I feel like, has been watered down to attract more.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Orange, green, or red?
Orange.
Okay.
Okay, tell me later.
Continue on.
Okay, sure. So, this, I feel, has been watered down to a casual experience while still having a little bit of edge to it. So it doesn't seem just like a Scooby-Doo-esque family-friendly event, right?
Yeah.
This place had some balls to say and do some of the things that they did, but it, like I mentioned earlier, it's a shell of its former self. This isn't like we are here to cater to, like, they were basically a religion. Their whole motto used to be all hail the gallows. They used to paint with blood on your forehead the X as entry to the event. They used to do that. They don't do that anymore. I mean, that you could maybe blame the virus for that, but like there is no more all hail anymore. It's just welcome to Hexed. That's it. And it's just, like, I hate to sound like that because I loved this place. But anyway, there was a particular guy, as I sidetracked, who called me COVID because we were wearing masks. And after he said that, he got face to face with me and was like, I could feel his breath on my mask. I'm not offended by anything in these places. I'm really not. Like, if you could bring the show, please, by all means, bring it. Let's see it. I wasn't offended by what he did, but I couldn't help but feel like, are you kidding? That line wasn't funny. That line wasn't clever. It didn't have any impact whatsoever. And then you stand face to face to me so close that I could feel you breathing. That was stupid. because not only are you endangering me, but you don't know what I have. Now, I could tell you that I'm not ill, nor was I when I went through there, but these are two strangers standing face to face with each other.
Yep.
We don't know what each other have. That's a risk there. So I know that sounds silly to complain about safety in a place where you're supposed to get up close and personal with people, but like I said about Terror Manor, there's a way that you could still give a good show and still play it safe. This was not a good example of that. I was kind of annoyed that that even happened. So anyway, in this scene, this girl was up against the wall and she's like trying to get away, and the guy does the lines to us, and I'm like, hey, she's trying to get away. She's trying to get away. I think you have a different problem, buddy. And he turns around and he like corners her up against the wall, which was cool. Like, I'm going to give him credit. Like, he heard what I said and interacted with what I said, and that was cool. And as we're walking away, he's like, you want to see her? Like, I'm not going to pretend to quote his exact words, but he basically said, like, you want to see me, like, kill her or whatever, right? And I'm like, yeah, kill her. Let's see. He said, do you want to help? Well, yeah, I do, of course. Like, I want to interact with this, right? And then I walk over. He's like, yeah, let's get her. And then we all just awkwardly stood there.
Let's get her.
So, like, okay, I didn't get uncomfortably close before somebody calls me a hypocrite and says, well, here you are talking about how that guy got face to face with you and now you're walking back to them. Like, I walked up to him to show that, like, yeah, let's get her, but I did not get uncomfortably close. We awkwardly stood there for a couple of seconds. Here's how I think that should have went. This is a good example of me saying, learn, please, how to work your crowd. Do you want to see me kill this girl? Yes, I do. Well, do you want to help me? Yes, I do. Okay, well, let's get her. And then if I walk towards you, because most of the time people are just all talk and no show, so maybe some people would say, yeah, I do want to help. And then I would just walk away. If that's the case, then say something quick-witted like, oh, you're basically like a puss, right?
Yeah.
But let's just say instead what I did take place. I instead walked towards him. So what should have happened was, get out of my house. You don't deserve to kill this person. This is mine. I captured her. I did this. You don't deserve to have the pleasure to torture this bitch. This is mine. Now get the fuck out of my house. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now you just played back, and you didn't make it awkward, like, well, now when you walk over here, we're just going to stand and look at each other because in reality, we know we can't touch each other. So you made it to where, okay, well, now this person is told to leave, but it was part of the show. That's an example. That's not exactly what I guess what should have happened, but that's an example of how that could have been. What else happened after that? Like, what more took place after that one event?
Well, you see. The buses, I guess.
That's another example of people being just, like, kind of rude.
Yeah. Those people were assholes also, for sure.
There was a girl on one of the buses. I said something about the radar buses or whatever. Like, they had buses that were there, and I made the joke. I was like, "Oh, I hate those buses because it's always a bunch of slow old people on those buses." Like, just trying to be funny, and yeah, to play with the people.
Yes.
And they were like, why do you hate my bus? And I was like, oh, because it's nothing but a bunch of old people. And I was hoping that they were going to say something about my age, right? Like, oh, you're old, or you look old, or whatever. Like, I don't look old, right? But, like, they did. The one actor, which he played it good, he was just like, well, that's going to be you one day. Which I thought was cool.
I mean, yeah, because it's the truth.
And then this girl just comes out from out of nowhere. And she's like, get off my bus. No one cares about what you think, you old piece of shit. So I'm like, okay, well, there's...
Well, no, she called you a jackass.
Well, no, not yet. She didn't call me a jackass yet, but she did.
She called you a piece of shit?
She did. She's like, you old piece of shit, or something to that effect. And I was like, well, I'm not old. The guy told me that I'm gonna be old. Like, that's what one of your guys just told me. And I wasn't saying it to argue with them. I was just, like, playing it up. Like, you're telling me I'm old. He's telling me I'm going to be old. Which one is it? And I was like, well, I hate your bus. I don't want to be on the old bus with old people. Like, just playing it up. And she says, well, if you don't want to be on my bus, get off it if you hate it so much, you jackass. Which is, there's nothing wrong or offensive with that. But I heard, like, you could hear the tone that followed it. And it was, like, a serious, like, well, then leave. If you're not happy, then leave. And I'm like, I'm just messing with you guys. Like, I'm just playing along. So, that was kind of stupid. Like, there's no ill will towards her. It was just kind of like, man, I bet you really think that I was, like, not having a good time. And that was unfortunate, because that could have been good. There were a couple of scenes that we went through after that, kind of forgettable. There was another church scene for this particular haunt that was very good.
Indeed.
Very, very good. A lot of Hail Satan, a lot of look at my pentagrams, a lot of you're going to hell and we embrace it kind of thing. Very cool scene. More static. Honestly, forgettable stuff. Visually looked cool. Just don't remember what really took place. We went through like a freak show section, which was okay. There was one dude who I guess was trying to play the ringleader, who, man, this might be a really nice guy out of character, but if you want to take scaring people even the slightest bit seriously, like, it's got to be a little bit more, because we walked into that room and I have never heard someone so unenthusiastically depressed to say lines. You could say lines and mean it. Like, if you're good at talking, you could sell someone a shirt off their back. This guy was like, welcome. This is kind of like, this isn't the exact words that he said. This is more so an example. Welcome to the freak show. I have freaks here, and they're freaky, and they do weird things. Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. Like, that's the vibe I got. Like, it just felt like you were just reading lines. It was not very good. There was a joke that I made that was, like, borderline inappropriate. It was, like, not inappropriate to where, like, offensive inappropriate, like, made someone feel uncomfortable. It was more like a playback where someone said something like, when I get bored, I usually play with my dolls. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, when I get bored, I play with, we'll hold that thought. Right? Or something like that. And they were just kind of like, okay.
Okay, get out of here now.
Yeah, get out of here now. And I'm like, man, I didn't... It's supposed to be, like, you guys are supposed to be an R-rated attraction as well, because you're clearly saying fucking shit and doing crazy, like, not suitable for young people stuff in your haunt. But, you know, you have people play back with you, and they're just not having it. That's the kind of vibe that I got. So that was that. We went through the last scene, which was, do you remember? Yeah, me neither. Yeah. Yeah, really exactly. I really don't remember. They called us...
Clowns was the end, right?
Well, not really, because it was kind of like, I don't remember that the last thing being a clown, because we went through one more thing after that, and I really...
After the freak show?
Yes, it was one more thing. It was like one quick, one and done. It was past the scene that was just like a white room with a bunch of, like, fog. It was after that.
I really don't remember.
So, that was what it was. And then the only thing I remember at the end is that they called us losers. And
oh yeah, and that also had a tone, like, not even to be like a fun, oh, you're a loser. Like, not that anybody thinks being called a loser is fun.
Well, I get what you're saying. It didn't seem like it was in character. It was more like, you guys are...
attack.
Like, you guys are losers, leave. But, so, they asked us how it was. Like, there was a guy at the end asking how it was, and we were like, it was alright. Because it was. There was some good stuff there. There was some really cool visuals in some scenes. a very, very few really cool actors. Um, Majority of them were rather young, from what I can notice. I'm going to be fair and say it was late. It was very close to the end of the night for them. I'm sure they were tired. I'm sure some of them had to leave because of whatever reason.
Had to be at least around 9 o'clock, which it wasn't even well, I mean, it wasn't like closing time for them at that point.
No, but it was getting pretty close. It was getting pretty close. You could only scream for so long before you're like, man, I'm tapping out for the night.
Tapping out. Yep.
Was it the experience that we used to get? No. Is it fair to hold that against them? No.
Well, because it's different people.
It is. It's different people. So, that said, it was fine. It was fine. Am I dying to get back there? I'm not. I would like to give it another chance in the future. I would like for the show to be a little bit better. I think that they have a long way to go with acting quality. There's, like, if anyone's listening to this that does that, study up on it. If you like doing this, if you enjoy doing it and want to take it seriously and do it year to year to year, like, read up on it. Like, try to think of weird stuff to say. Like, think about what I used to do was take what your crappy day was and turn it into someone else's entertainment. You can use stuff that happens in your personal life to channel a different energy to present it as entertainment for other people. Whether that be screaming at them or saying just weird, unnerving stuff to them, like you smell different when you're awake, like something creepy like that. Just snarling and like breathing really heavy, that might work for some casual people. You are not going to scare everyone with that. And no matter, before I even finish that sentence, there are some people, no matter how good of an actor that you are not going to scare everyone. I have learned that. I'm sure everyone has experienced that. But, like, the way that I was taught and what I would like to share with other people, if you don't know this, is your main priority is to scare them. Unnerve them, unsettle them, startle them, whatever. If you cannot do that, if you've tried your damnedest and you cannot do that, make them laugh at least. Do something that causes an impact. Because how many times did I say, I forgot or I don't remember about this place? Because it's exactly that. Forgettable. And that's, I don't want it to be like that. I would love for this place to do great. It's not a war. It's not like, this place needs to be better than this place, and I'm loyal to this place only and not this place. I would love to go to every single event and have each and every... Okay, so if I could stop this for a second. Megan is showing me a picture of a buddy of mine holding what looks to be a pillow that has Danny DeVito's face on it. And there's no real context to that other than that. So... getting back on track to this super long, hour-and-a-half long episode, this is going to be broken into 2 separate parts for this weekend. Night 1, night 2, and then there's going to be a whole nother part when we eventually go back to some of these places. But anyway, let me wrap this up. Hexed Haunted Attractions, you have potential to be amazing. Really do. I'm not saying get rid of anyone. I would never wish that because I appreciate people doing that.
Also, I'm going to backtrack real quick because the buses, that honestly was the downfall for me. Because I really did feel like people at this point just wanted to be douchebags. Like, there was, some guy who was throwing candy. That happened. And then there was, like, this little kid. I guess it was a little kid. I'm not even really sure. Who was standing on the seats and wouldn't let you pass. And was being a whole cunt about it.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. Well, I got to pass easily. I got to pass easily, but they gave you a tough time. And that's not a problem. Because if that's part of the show, then that's fine. Like, if they're trying to, like, oh, you're not...
She was being a cunt about
it. Well, you're not allowed to leave kind of thing.
Because even I looked up at her and I'm just like, are you fucking serious? Like, just fucking let me go.
So... No, I get that. I mean, like, it's different for other people. Like, I didn't have the feeling that I was just like, I'm over it, I don't want to do this anymore. But it was kind of weak in a lot of areas where I know that the place has the potential. Hexed Haunted Attractions, if you are hearing this, you could say the same. You're like, man, you just made this YouTube channel today and you have 0 people listening to this.
Doesn't matter.
How do you have the audacity to tell us that you didn't enjoy your time? Well, I did enjoy my time. There were a couple of things that I do remember that are really good. I hope that place grows back to, if not surpasses, what it used to be. I would love to go there every year and be able to tell anyone that I know, like, man, you need to check this place out because they really put on a good show. I hope it gets better. Out of 6 stars, this gets a 2 or a 2.5.
2.5 is good. I think that's fair.
I think this was the weakest it's ever been.
Yes.
And I think there's a couple of variables there.
I'm not even sure there was even other people there.
Maybe.
Be honest.
I don't know.
And one of my feelings towards this is, the previous years that we've been, is it did really feel like a haunted house. This year, it really felt like we were just in a junkyard.
Kind of.
And in a corn maze.
Yeah,
like, that was pretty much it.
Kind of. That's true. Well, so that was night 1. An hour and a half that took. So if you enjoyed this, if you're even hearing it, and to future Brian and to future Megan, because we're going to be listening to this a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road, if we're even still alive by then, who knows? we're gonna listen to this and be like, man, did we take this stuff way too seriously? Or maybe we were too easy on him. I don't know, but
too easy.
Too easy on him. But hopefully, if anyone's hearing this, hopefully you enjoyed 2 people giving their insight on 1 night out of a 2-night haunted house extravaganza in southwestern Virginia. If you don't live in this area and you hear this and you ever want to come to this area, check them out. Even if our opinion of one thing might not be selling it very well. For all we know, you might go through it, whether you live here or you don't, you might go through it, and that might be the best experience you ever had in a lifetime.
And also, just as a FYI, we are working to put together I guess you could say we'll put together an Instagram and a Facebook account, as well as the YouTube channel that this is going on, and possibly even a blog to go hand in hand with that.
Are we going to have videos? Are we going to show our faces at some point?
I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens.
If anyone hears this, do you want to put a face to these voices so you could be like, you guys are ugly? Do you want to do that? Just let us know. That's all.
And I'm just going to tell you right now, get fucked, because I don't care.
Don't tell people to get fucked. Let them tell us to get fucked. Hail thyself, right?
Hail thyself.
Hopefully everybody enjoyed this, even if we're the only 2 that enjoy it. Thank you. Stay safe. Take care. And strap in. Click it and ticket. Click it or ticket, Virginia. Click it and ticket. Click it or ticket, Virginia. How's that for an outro? Have a good night.